Thank you very much once again for joining us here on Newsroom. Now, the Communications Director of the National Democratic Congress, Sammy Gyamfi, has called or described as sycophantic the comments by the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo on President Akufo-Addo's track record as a lawyer. The Chief Justice at the inauguration of the 2024 Africa Conference of the International Association of Women Judges described the first gentleman as Ghana's foremost lawyer whose belief in the rule of law has been evident during his tenure as president. She added that the Judicial Service of Ghana has been a beneficiary of the exceptional level of physical and technological infrastructure. But Communications Officer of the NDC, Sammy Gyamfi, said in a social media post that President Akufo-Addo himself will disagree with the Chief Justice's testimony, and such comments should ordinarily be reserved for party foot soldiers. Now, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sammy Gyamfi, joins us via phone for a conversation on this. Welcome to the bulletin. The Chief Justice is the head of Ghana's judiciary. Why would you describe her comments as sycophantic? Hello, Sammy Gyamfi, if you can hear me, good morning. Welcome to the bulletin. Okay, I can't seem to hear Sammy Gyamfi on the phone line, but we'll work the phone lines and try and get him and have a conversation with him because he has disagreed with the comments that were made by the Chief Justice as regards the president's track record. The Chief Justice had earlier lauded the president for his immense contribution to the judicial systems of this country. She believed that the president had done a pretty good job, but this is something that he takes exception to. The Chief Justice is quoted as saying that President Akufo-Addo is a lawyer and a champion of justice, and his name is definitely hatched in the legal history of this country as the most distinguished legal practitioner. His belief in the rule of law has been evident during his tenure as president. But you heard, of course, Sammy Gyamfi, or you've seen Sammy Gyamfi's tweet on your screen now, where he says that President Akufo-Addo himself will disagree with the testimony coming from the CJ, and he describes the comments of the CJ as sycophantic. We're still trying to work the line to have a conversation with him as regards this particular subject matters, and when we have that, we'll bring it to you here on Newsroom. Right. I believe we can speak to lawyer Sammy Gyamfi now. Good morning. Welcome to the bulletin.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much for your time. Why exactly would you describe the Chief Justice's comments about the president and his contribution to the judicial system as sycophantic?
Well, it's sycophantic because there's no Bonah and you can see clearly that Chief Justice idolizes President Akufo-Addo so much that she's ready to heap unfounded praises on him. Praises that the president himself will disagree with because he knows things to be false. We are talking about a president who has been an enemy of the rule of law. He's waged a war against the rule of law in this country. And for the Chief Justice to describe this president as an example of the rule of law is completely unacceptable. This is the president under whose tenure a certain Auditor General was forcibly removed from office against the Constitution. The Supreme Court has held the Rambo-style removal of Yawodum level office as Auditor General to be unconstitutional. How can the man who did this despicable, lawless act, be described by the Chief Justice as an example of the rule of law? We are talking about a man under whose tenure a court of competent jurisdiction was attacked by hoodlums belonging to his party. I'm talking about members of the insurgent forces of the New Patriotic Party who attacked the Kumasi, KMA court. A pregnant judge who was presiding at the time had for her life. Instead of the president ensuring that the perpetrators were prosecuted and punished, he left them off the hook by directing his attorney general to enter nulli prosequi. How can this man, who supervised this attack on a court of competent jurisdiction, in good conscience, be described as an example of the rule of law? This is the same President Akufo-Addo under whose tenure innocent citizens were brutalized and some maimed in the hours of by-election. He is the same man who supervised the murder of 8 innocent Ghanaians during the 2020 election. Till date, he has not uttered a word of condemnation of any of these atrocities perpetrated against civilians by state-sponsored goons of it. Neither has he compensated the victims. And the Chief Justice says that he's what? Come on, she should respectfully reserve these kind of bootlicking, sycophantic, praise-singing comments for MPP party soldiers. She occupies a very important position, which is supposed to be independent. And this statement coming from her does not engender confidence in the independence of the judiciary at all. Not only is the statement false and contrived, the statement also undermines public trust in the independence of the judiciary. How can anybody say that President Akufo-Addo is the most reputable legal practitioner in Ghana? Who are judged him the most reputable legal practitioner in Ghana? By what standards? You understand? So clearly, I don't know what this Chief Justice sought to achieve by making these frivolous, unfounded, contrived, testimonies about the president. We are saying that we are totally disappointed and that the claims made by the Chief Justice are not borne out by the facts and cannot be justified by the experience we've had with President Akufo-Addo in the last 7.5 years that he's been president of Ghana.
But that's the fact that she's the Chief Justice, should there be anything wrong with her extolling one of what some people describe as Ghana's legal luminaries? Because I'm pretty sure if you pick some of the Ghana law reports, you see cases that President Akufo-Addo has done over the years. So, would it be wrong for anyone to describe the president as an astute lawyer and someone who has contributed immensely to the development of law in this country?
But the law reports are full of decided cases, important decided cases to our jurisprudence. And all those cases were prosecuted by lawyers. And so the law report is full of the names of lawyers. Is Akufo-Addo the only lawyer whose name is in the Ghana law report? How many times as the law report cites the cases that he did as lawyer? How many times? If it is the Tufo versus Attorney General case that we cite in constitutional law, he was lawyer in the case with Chachuchi Kata. Give me other examples. Is he the only lawyer whose cases have been reported in the Ghana law report? So that is neither here nor there. Okay? Look, we are not saying that because she's Chief Justice, she cannot extol the virtues of Akufo-Addo, no. But any such exercise must be based on facts. And you can say that President Akufo-Addo is an example of the rule of law, where when we can see clearly the conduct of this man being contrary to what you're saying. Is it not the same president under whose tenure many anti-corruption investigative journalists have been harassed, intimidated, brutalized, some tortured, and even some murdered under his tenure? What happened to Ahmed Swali? And what was his crime? His crime was that he worked with Anas, the man that the Akufo-Addo promised to use his principle to fight corruption in 2016, in exposing the former president of the Ghana Football Association, who claimed at the time that the president was in his pocket and was all over the place, peddling influence and defrauding people by false pretenses and all that. Because of this, Anas was threatened, Ahmed Swale was threatened, their photos were published. The president was here, he did nothing about it. Ahmed Swale was murdered in court.
Well, but you know the appropriate authorities are investigating, still say they are investigating the murder of Ahmed Swale.
So as the president is also aware of the meeting about that incident. But when Kennedy Japan was sitting on TV, threatening Ahmed Swale with harm and death, he boldly stated publicly that he was doing that in defense of President Akufo-Addo. Because Ahmed Swale and Anas, according to him, were bad boys who wanted to expose the president. And that it was the president they were actually looking for. They wanted to free. So he did whatever he did, the threat of harm, the threat of death, all in the name and for and on behalf of Akufo-Addo. Did you condemn it? What happened to your own colleague at City, Caleb Kuda? The national security, which is chaired by President Akufo-Addo, they arrested this man illegally and tortured him. They beat him to pulp. Did the president condemn it? What happened to the modern Ghana editors? What happened to Edward Adeti of Star FM, your own colleague? What happened to Manasseh Azuri in the week of the militia in the eye of the city expose? What happened to all these cases? You have forcibly removed an auditor general from office in Rambo style. The 8th court of the land says that that was unconstitutional. And you are saying that the man who did this is an example of the rule of law. Why? The Chief Justice has a different meaning of the rule of law that we don't know.
All right.
He uses a different dictionary from what we all use. And that because she is Chief Justice, she must be allowed to get away with anything she says, even if it is apparently false.
All right, Sammy Gyamfi.
Apparently, we cannot accept this coming from the Chief Justice. And we're saying that the occupier of that key position should clearly speak in ways that commands respect for that revered arm of government. All right. In the kind of way that this Chief Justice spoke, which has further dampened confidence in the impartiality and independence of the judiciary.
Very well, Sammy Gyamfi. I'm grateful that you've spoken to us here on Newsroom. Sammy Gyamfi is National Communications Officer of the NDC. Now, a leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwame Jantua, has asserted that the unrest at various camps of the limited voter registration exercise, the various centers, must be attributed to the two leading political parties. According to him, the inability of the NPP and the NDC to maintain discipline for their people who go to these registration centers contributes to the recurrent trend of violence that characterizes some of these programs. He spoke on GH Today.
MPP, NDC, Yabremo. MPP, NDC, Yabremo. Why? What is it? What is all this about? This is registration. Wouldn't it be nice if MPP, NDC said, this thing that is going on is bad. It's criminal. Let's fish all of them out. They could be NDC members, they could be MPP members. Let's fish them out so that we stop it. No. Look at what they are doing. Look what they are doing. As if Ghana is for them. And in the end, who suffers? We, the people. What's this? Got to stop it. Got to stop it. It won't help anybody. And all these your members who are doing that in the constituencies, when you vote for who your presidential candidate or the camp president, do they know you? Do they know you? What is it, Lantam? Why? What is it? Common limited registration. Look at what is happening.
Security analyst Dr. Adam Bonah has bemoaned the current trend of violence that occurred at some voter registration centers during the limited voter registration exercise, which is still ongoing. Now, speaking on GH Today, the security analyst blamed the Electoral Commission for running an incompetent administration.
I think that anyone who saw where we, or who knows where we have come from, seeing this will crunch. But that is what is going on. And it has nothing to do with MPP NDC. I would say it's gross incompetence on the part of the EC. you have the three at the top, the commissioner herself and the two deputies, and you have 4 others, making them 7. And yet we cannot get this thing done smoothly. I lived in Britain for some time. It is so easy. You have continuous registration. You go to, the electoral office at the council, wherever it is, you go and register. They send you, a check, with your name and whatever. When voting day comes, you know that you need to go here and there is no tension. Why can't we have a continuous registration in this country?
Well, security analyst Dr. Bonah has also called on the Speaker of Parliament to institute a probe into the conduct of the Economics and Organized Crime Office in the ongoing controversy regarding the stash of money found in the house of former Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Abena-Dapaah. Speaking on GH Today, he emphasized the need for a parliamentary probe to ascertain the facts surrounding the back and forth between the Office of the Special Prosecutor, EOCO, the Attorney General's Department, and the CID.
When this Cecilia Dapaah issue came up, I have very close relations with both MPP and NDC. Very, very close relation. I spoke to some of the important people within the MPP, and they expressed their disgust about what has taken place. They thought that things haven't been done right. But the truth is that that in our partisan way of doing things, once you have sworn to be a member of a certain political party, it becomes very difficult for you to come out and talk about it. It got to a point even getting communicators to go and talk about Cecilia Dapaah issue. No one wanted to talk about it. But like I'm saying, I'm not in to say she's guilty or she's not guilty. I think that is not what I'm looking at. In any case, those who must investigate it are competent enough to do it. I am looking at what these two institutions did, and that has led us to this.
Imagine spending what feels like an eternity in traffic for a journey that should last a little over an hour. As frustrating as it may sound, that was the plight of many motorists and passengers at Kasoa following yesterday evening's downpour. Some of the residents who spoke to GHOne News' Nurain Abbas are appealing for approved drainage systems to address the issue.
Hours of gridlock here on the Kasoa-Mallam stretch. The situation hasn't gotten any better. Vehicles are at a standstill for close to 10 minutes before they make a move. Now, what is happening is that this side of the road, where vehicles are commuting from Kasoa to Accra, have been occupied on both stretches, making it difficult for those on the opposite side to access the road. Oh, it's been 6 hours. All passengers are coming out of their vehicles to return to their homes out of frustration.
Well, I got to SCC Junction at 5 o'clock, and it's 5 minutes to 9. I'm not halfway through a journey which can take 2 minutes.
Is this usual?
Is it what?
Is it usual for this to happen when it rains?
Yeah, when it rains, for sure. This is at well over 10 years ago. When the government will have to repay our taxes and everything, they're going to have to look at it for us.
How long have you been walking?
Like, the dinner have been 3 hours.
So how long would it take you to get home?
I think 6 hours.
So you mean you have 3 more hours to walk to the house?
Yes.
Wow, will you be able to go to school tomorrow?
Yes.
What time do you usually leave school?
Like 5.
You think you can make it to the house and still go to school tomorrow?
Yes.
How long have you been walking?
For about 3 hours.
Where did you start walking from? From Wager. Where do you live? So are you going to walk to get to the house? Will you go to school tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, I've been walking for about 15 minutes. I managed to bypass the traffic from Wager Junction because we had a path that we usually take. And so we came out from somewhere around the Choice, and then I had to continue walking from there.
How long do you have to walk before you get to the house?
Well, I live at Tuba, so it's quite a journey.
Both drivers and passengers are telling me this problem has persisted for years. And until government does something about it, this is going to be an annual problem here on the Kasoa-Mallam stretch.
Well, it's time for social media on Newsroom, and Nana Ama Akwa is in the studio. She's got some comments about this situation and more. Nana Ama, good morning.
Morning, Lantam. Yeah, yesterday was terrible. I was in it myself for about 2 hours, coming from Circle all the way through to Achimota. So it was a little bit of a terror for me too. But we asked, how did you get home yesterday? And where were you? The first comment on X says, I used a drone, luckily. I wish you could have also taken me with you. When we go to Instagram, we see, let me go here. Then we see here, heavy traffic on the Kaneshie-Kasoa stretch. Then we have GHOne who says, what would make me want to stay in Kasoa? Oh. Then we have Theo, have been in this traffic from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. from McCarthy Hill Junction to Wager Barrier. Then McCaffrey says he just got home, but we don't know what time that was. Efua says we are still in it, and it's 1 a.m. And then Rhymes adds, yeah, I was in this battle. Queen says, what's causing the traffic? Well, my assumption will be the rain, the terrible rain that came yesterday. Maybe the drains and things at that area. Then Oracle says, just start walking. Walkathon. Then we have here Babs. I've been in traffic from 6 p.m. until 1:40 a.m. from McCarthy Hill to Kasoa. Then Arnold says this traffic can kill someone who was in it from 6:30 until 1:35 a.m. When we move over quickly to Facebook, Anthony says on Judgment Day, I will wear Ghana flag to notify God that I've been going through a lot. I jejele waka home with my 2 legs. I hope your legs have been massaged and you are ready for today. Then Dawood says, I left La Paz around 8 p.m. and got home, that's Tetegu, at exactly 2:14 a.m. I nearly left my car in the traffic and ran home. Judith responded to that comment, next time, just walk into a hotel or guest house and have a sound sleep. Essie says, when I saw it online, I just booked a hotel and I slept. Don says, I'm still in the car going home. So sorry about that. Violet says, my man got home around 2, I think she meant a.m. last night. It was terrible. Yesterday, I felt really bad for him. This morning, he left by 4 a.m. to Accra. May God bless him for me. One day, his hustle must surely pay. Amen. Then Kwame says, by Chewa's broom. Well, I hope you were all safe and sound because of the rain and the traffic yesterday. Let's hope today it will not rain. And if it does, that the traffic will be kept under control. My name is Nanama Akwa. Continue to send us your messages on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X. Lantam, did you get caught in the traffic yesterday?
Fortunately for me, I did not get caught up in traffic,
Good.
but I was dreading it for the people who were caught up in the traffic,
Absolutely.
especially on the Kasoa stretch.
Yeah.
It's always a huge problem. There's always vehicular traffic there. How much more when it rains and there is sand which has filled entire sections of the road. It's an eyesore. But thank you, Nanama Akwa, for bringing us the latest on social media. As regards this, it's time for business news. Now, President Nana Akufo-Addo is urging African governments to align their policies and regulatory frameworks in order to create an environment conducive to innovation while protecting the rights and interests of consumers. Addressing delegates at the 3I Africa Summit, the president disclosed the 3-year Africa Summit as a testament to Africa's collective commitment to shaping a future where finance and technology coverage is going to drive economic and inclusive growth and sustainable development.
Africa's potential. It is essential that we break down the policies that have held us back for too long. Scaling up our digital infrastructure to reach every corner of our continent, thereby leaving no community behind in the march towards progress. Expanding financial inclusion to include all Africans, regardless of their income or social status. Empowering our youth with the skills and opportunities they need to become the leaders and the innovators of tomorrow are of the utmost importance. In doing so, we must engender collaborative partnerships that transform borders and sectors, bringing together the best minds and the most innovative solutions to tackle the challenges we face. I urge all of us gathered here, indeed governments of Africa, to align our policies and regulatory frameworks to create an environment that nurtures innovation whilst protecting the rights and interests of consumers. Prioritizing digital investment in digital infrastructure, channeling resources into the communities that have been left behind by the march of progress, and bridging the digital divide that threatens to leave too many Africans on the sidelines of the global economy are exceptionally important and crucial.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has cautioned that the insufficient investment in Africa could impede the pace of innovation and sustainability solutions necessary for maximizing the impact of digital usage across the continent. Addressing the theme Unleashing the FinTech and Digital Economic Potential of Africa at the opening of the ceremony of the 3I Africa Summit, Dr. Addison emphasized the critical need to envision Africa's role in the digital world. He highlighted the significant challenge of investor feasibility for many local fintech startups, stressing that they need adequate capital.
Fintech should have the ability to navigate regulatory requirements and meet compliance standards, which we all agree are non-negotiables, especially in Africa's financial industry. Hence, the need to address the information gap between investors and fintech startups to stimulate the payment ecosystem. Against this background, the goal of the 3I Africa Summit is simple, yet audacious, and that is to share the African fintech narrative, discuss the opportunities and challenges on how to employ technology, as well as enhance collaboration among policymakers, investors, and innovators to advance the economic prosperity of the African continent and its partners.
Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is sounding the alarm over the increasing cost of doing business in the country due to the continuous depreciation of the cedi. GHOne fears the collapse of more businesses should the trend continue. The Ghana cedi's depreciation against the US dollar has led to a high cost of goods. Although Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has noted that the cedi has stabilized strongly against the major trading currencies, it is yet to be seen on the market. We've got a copy of the statement issued by GHOne, and it says, the Ghana Union of Traders Association expresses deep frustration over the current depreciation of the cedi, which is creating a big mess for the business community, especially the trading sector. This seeming crisis, coupled with the ever-rising freight charges from Asia, are rendering the cost of doing business unbearable. The current state of affairs has far-reaching implications and has caused prices of goods and services to increase for the consuming public. The inflationary pressures resulting from the depreciating cedi have pushed the cost of goods through the roof, making it increasingly difficult for businesses to stay afloat. The purchasing power of the consuming public has also been affected, thereby reducing the turnover of businesses. Repayment of loans to the bank has then become extremely difficult. The rising freight charges, compounded by customs duties benchmarked in dollars at the ports, are crippling trade and commerce, leading to untold hardships for businesses and consumers alike. It has increased unpredictability or forecast of businesses. The value of credit purchase increases, thereby making it very difficult for traders to repay the goods bought from their overseas suppliers, leading to higher indebtedness to businesses. GHOne hereby calls on the government to take urgent measures to save this alarming situation from getting out of hand. And GHOne expresses its readiness to collaborate with the government and other stakeholders on this issue. And this is a statement which was signed by the president of GHOne, Dr. Joseph Obeng. Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene wants governments to look inward to find lasting solutions to addressing the cedi's depreciation. He spoke on State of Affairs on GHOne TV.
The would always be exposed. And we need, as a nation, as we said earlier, to look at some of the things that we do, which we could have done it better. Unfortunately, we have messed it up. You borrow only to show the city, not for productive capacity, for expanding, say, the onions and the tomatoes, the real expanding of tomatoes, and not that things that they used to call it. I don't believe in that. You have the money to support the private sector. I mean, these are the people that we should support so that we can curtail. I mean, poultry, 600 million. Rice, 1.2 billion. And we live in an area where we could produce this easily by creating the enabling environment devoid of political utterances in it. Because economy thrives on a very good microeconomic environment, devoid of political insult and all these things. Unfortunately, we don't learn. We don't learn. We believe that we can talk our way out. And you hear people talking their way. Recently, I heard one of the officials saying that, oh, the city will be stable. He's doing everything to be stable. When you are depending on an IMF handout of 360 million, can that support even drugs? Can that?
Now, let's stay on this a while longer. We've been joined on the phone by the Communications Director for the Ghana Union Traders Association, Mr. Joseph Paddy. Good morning, welcome, or good afternoon, welcome to Newsroom on GHOne TV. Okay, we can't seem to hear Mr. Joseph Paddy on the line. We seem to have lost him there on the line, but essentially the Ghana Union Traders Association is complaining about the depreciation of the cedi. And they say if something is not done about it, it could plunge a lot of business into dire straits. And so they want the government to do something about it. They're sounding alarm over the increasing cost of doing business. And they had issued a statement in that regard to register their displeasure and, of course, to also describe just how much of an impact the depreciating cedi is having on businesses. Mr. Joseph Paddy is Communications Director for GHOne. He joins us on the phone line. Mr. Paddy, good afternoon. Welcome to the bulletin.
Good afternoon. Let me say good afternoon to your listeners and viewers on the internet. Lantam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking, and I hope you're doing well too.
We are doing well. We are doing well.
Very well. Now,
only that we've been faced with this challenge of this depreciation against the other foreign exchange currencies.
Right, and I've just been going through the statements that you issued, and in the last bit of your statement, you're saying that you are ready to collaborate with government and other stakeholders on this issue. Exactly what do you want from the government as regards this? I mean, do you want them to put in place measures to bring the cedi down, or do you want them to remove taxes? What is it exactly that you want to collaborate with government on?
Exactly so. What we're looking for is an information. What are the causes of this free fall of the cedi? We've been monitoring the performance of the cedi against the major currencies of the world, especially the dollar. And we have seen the nosedive of the cedi against the dollar, and which is not helping business, and it's hurting our activities as a business community. And that is why we needed what are the causes of this free fall of the cedi. We're looking for information on that. That is why we say we want to find out, and so that we can collaborate with government. Is it as a result of economic instability? You know, in recent times, we've had some economic instability in recent years, including inflation, high inflation, growing debt levels, low foreign exchange reserves. We identified those ones, and this has put pressure on the cedi. Or is it as a result of weak export? You know, recently our cocoa, who was doing well, has not been doing too well. We don't know. So we're looking for an attempt to, when there's political uncertainty, when you're entering into an election year, when your foreign compatriots are not too sure of what's going to happen, they might want to withdraw all their funds from the country. So we want to find out, it gives room for speculation. So we want to find out what are the real challenges, why we are experiencing this free fall of the cedi. Then we can, as a business community, we can collaborate with government to halt it. That is why we put on this statement. That's why we came up with this press release, yes.
Right. Now, I mean, have there been any engagements, you know, with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, with the Ministry of Finance, you know, on some of these concerns that you have been raising?
No, there has not been engagement yet. This falls under the hands of the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance, this goes to the Ministry of Finance. What are the challenges? We want to identify, let us know what are the real cause of the fall of the city. When we identify that, in recent times, we could see that now our ports are not running too well. We are losing business to our neighboring countries. And recently, too, China has also increased their freight. Are these some of the reasons why we are seeing this nosedive? We don't know. So it's giving room to the business community to speculate. And because of that, you can't do business in speculation. When you do that, you are not able to plan well. And we're also looking at the consuming public, the purchasing power of the consumer, which is nothing to write home about. A consumer cannot plan. He comes for an invoice today, and tomorrow he comes to the market, and the same product, the price has changed as a result of this inflation and this change of exchange rate. Today, exchange rate is running around 14.5. Just about 2-3 weeks ago, it was around 13. So if you come for invoice about 2 weeks ago, and today you're going to buy the same product, you might not get it at the same price, because obviously the price will change as a result of this change of exchange rate.
So moving forward, really, after you've put out this statement, what other steps are you going to take to try and get the situation rectified? Are you going to perhaps move to the Ministry of Finance and try and seek for an engagement with them? What are you going to do?
Of the Ministry of Finance to let us know what are the real causes. When we are able to identify the problem, it's one step of solving the problem. So we want to identify what are the real causes and which area can we make an input into the solution. As good as we stand, as much as we profess the challenges, we also want to profess the solution. So if we are able to identify the problem, as it stands now, we don't know the causes why there's this reform. But if the finance ministry can come out and say, these are the challenges that we are facing, then we, as a business community, we can also come out with the solutions, to profess solutions to solve those challenges. So we are knocking at the doorsteps of Ministry of Finance and government to let us know what are the challenges and difficulties they are facing, why the cedi is falling day in, day out against the major currencies of the world.
Very well, Mr. Joseph Paddy, thank you very much for speaking to us here on Newsroom. Joseph Paddy is Communications Officer for the Ghana Union Traders Association. You're still watching Newsroom here on GHOne Television. We'll return and bring you some more stories. You're welcome back. This is Newsroom here on GHOne Television. Now, the New Patriotic Party's flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has clarified his statement about incentivizing churches instead of imposing taxes on them. He said it was a comment he made in jest and had been taken out of context. Now, during a meeting with clergy members in the Northeast region as part of his nationwide tour, Vice President explained that his remarks might have been misunderstood.
I also want to have a golden age of a relationship between government and the church and faith-based organizations. I believe, and I said this the other day when I was, I think, in Bonah region or so, when I met the clergy, I said that the church is the foremost development partner of government. Is the foremost development partner of government. The church and faith-based organizations. Why do I say so? You look at the number of schools the churches have built. Look at the number of hospitals the churches have built. Look at the number of universities the churches have built and the faith-based organizations have built. Look at the number of people the churches and faith-based organizations take care of on a daily basis. Can you imagine, just take a thought for a moment, that you wake up tomorrow and all the schools, universities, and hospitals the churches have built disappear? They just disappear. How would Ghana be like? Ghana will collapse, isn't it? We will not survive in this sort of situation because there will be chaos. You see, so at that point I was joking, and I said, "Oh, people are talking about taxing churches. I don't believe, and we will not tax churches. Because if you look at the work the churches have done, then I was joking, then maybe we should have actually paid them for what they did, not really trying to tax them. But I wasn't really saying we should pay churches. No, I'm saying that we should give incentives to churches to do more. When we talk about our external development partners, we are giving them all sorts of import exemptions. But when we talk about our internal development partners like the churches or faith-based institutions, we don't give them any exemptions. But they do more in terms of development than many of our external development partners. So I'm saying that we should do more in the area of incentives, such as tax exemptions on import duties.
Well, it's time now for us to do sports. Monica Bukari has joined me in the studio with the latest in sports. Monica, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lantam. Lantam, one of Ghana's youngest promising boxer, Theophilus Alote, who is gearing up for the Olympic Games, is calling on the government and the ministry to at least open camp for them as they await their visas to Bangkok. I've got this plus other news making headlines in the world of sports. So do stay. A boxer's humble beginnings will always have an effect on how he carries himself through the dramatic twists and turns of his career, rising through the ranks of boxing from the juvenile team, Black Rockets, to the senior team, Black Bombers. Ghanaian boxer Theophilus Alote has been promising and currently occupies a special place in the boxing ecosystem. Now, myself, spent a day with him in the Wisdom Boxing Gym. Currently ranked Africa's number 3 and world number 8 in flyweight division, Theophilus Alote began his boxing career at a very tender age. While young men of his age hung out with friends, Theophilus Alote typically spends 3 hours in the Wisdom Boxing Gym every evening while training each morning at the Accra Sports Stadium with a team as they fine-tune preparations for their final slot of Olympic Games qualification in Bangkok, Thailand. This promising young boxer hoped to qualify to the Paris 2024 Olympic Games with his eyes set on gold in the men's flyweight event at the 2023 African Boxing Olympic Qualification Tournament, and therefore lost the chance even though he secured a bronze medal by reaching the semi-finals. Theophilus Alote again gave it another shot in Italy as he competed in the 2024 World Boxing Olympic Qualification Tournament, winning his first 2 bouts before being eliminated. Unperturbed, Theophilus Alote is again gearing up to compete in Bangkok, Thailand, to make sure he secures a ticket to the Olympics.
I was usually there. Accra qualified. The African Games to prepare myself for the Olympics qualified. The last qualifier in Thailand. Because to go to the Olympic Games is my dream to go to the Olympic Games and also to be the first Ghanaian boxer to win a gold medal at the Olympic Games. I can definitely tell to all Ghanaians that they should watch out on me. They should keep their trust on me because definitely if I go to Thailand, I'll qualify for them because I've been in 2 qualifications before and I've proved myself that I can qualify. So as for the third one, yeah, definitely I can qualify.
With less than 14 days to the qualifiers in Bangkok, Thailand, this young promising boxer made a plea to the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ghana Amateur Boxing Federation to at least open camp for the team ahead of the bouts.
Some few days we'll be going to Thailand for the Olympics qualifying, but we are still home. We move our bags from our go to stadium to go and train. No any results, but we are planning for the federation to do their best for us so that they can move us to camp before the tournament to arrive.
Currently ranked 3rd in Africa and 8th in the world, boxing is the only thing he does. Thus, Theophilus Alote called on corporate Ghana to come on board and support him to achieve his dream.
They shouldn't be afraid of putting their money in our sport, but they should believe in ourselves. If they put their money, they'll get their benefit on it, but they should. Maybe they are thinking if they put their money on us, they will disappoint them or will fail them. That's why they are pulling back. But for sure, we are promising them that they shouldn't be afraid. They should put their money inside. Definitely, they'll get their benefit from it.
Since his first year as an amateur boxer, it has been nothing but promising, winning bronze at the 2023 Olympic qualifiers in Dakar, and again winning bronze at the African Games in Ghana. With this experience and exposure to high-quality fights, Theophilus Papo-Alote promises to win gold in Thailand to enable him secure his dream ticket to Paris Olympic Games 2024. For more sports, kindly join us at 1 p.m. here on GHOne TV and, of course, Star FM. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Lantam.
Thank you very much, Monica Bukari, the latest in sports. And on that note, we'll wrap up the newsroom here on GHOne Television. Thank you very much for watching. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. My name is Lantam Papanko.